you said you have to hate your enemy. It was in that Chinese, and it was interesting to watch you, because with the podcast you can watch your face, and I could tell that you believe in this, but it's not a very popular thing to say. To say, like, we're going to go into battle and, like, real war. We're not talking about, like, oh, I hate getting up early. We're talking, like, you got to hate that enemy. And the way I translated it was, if you're in business, you got to hate mediocrity. You got to hate the status quo. Because if you don't hate it, you ain't going to get after it, right? You know what I mean? And your comment was that, you know, it's like, let's hope we don't have to get there. Let's hope we can negotiate with our enemies, or not even our enemies, but just, you know, we can keep the peace. I mean, that's ideally what we want. But if we have to get into a battle, you better hate your enemy. I mean, so can you talk to that a little bit?
Yeah, and we also have to look, when you're going to war, it's going to be horrible.
Yeah.
And you know, for us in Iraq, it was not very difficult to hate the enemy, because we got to see what the enemy did. It wasn't a report that we read. We saw unspeakable things, like literally things that I won't talk about, because they're so heinous. Yeah. So it's very easy to say these people are they're subhumans, they're absolutely evil. And no one in this room, if you saw the things that they would perpetrate, it's absolutely heinous. So that is a thing. Mm-hmm. And that can drive you. The thing that you have to be careful of, just like I said, if you start letting your emotions drive your decision-making process, and hatred is absolutely an emotion, and now all of a sudden I'm more worried about doing damage to you than I am about taking care of my clients, right? This is not a good process to have. Yeah. So you're right. I like where you've aimed that. I like that you've aimed that hatred of the inertia, a hatred of the status quo, and I'm not going to accept this. Yeah. And I got asked a question a little while ago. It was along the same theme, that the guy said, you know, I'm doing well in life, and my company's good, and my family's good, and I got a nice house, but I can't really find that motivation, you know, that I really want to go further. And I said, I kind of asked him, like, are you lying to yourself? Are you lying to yourself? Because there's two lies that you could be telling yourself. The first one is what you just said. I'm pretty comfortable. I'm pretty comfortable. If you're telling the truth and you're pretty comfortable, you wouldn't be asking me this question. Because if you're comfortable, you wouldn't even be at this event. Because if you're comfortable, you're out, you'd be like, oh yeah, I'm not going to go all the way to Nashville and go to this event and pay money, because I'm good, I'm comfortable where I'm at. If that's what you're telling yourself, if you feel comfortable and it's the truth, then no problem. You can kind of like go back to life. But if you're lying to yourself, that's going to gnaw at you. And that's what makes you ask that question. Yeah. I feel comfortable. No, you're not. What you're really feeling is the fact that you know you have more potential. And you know it's going to take hard work and dedication to get to where you're supposed to be. So be careful. Be careful of that lie of I'm comfortable. Mm-hmm. Tell yourself the truth. Discipline is root. The discipline, which motivation to me is kind of like just an emotion that I don't care about because it's going to come and go. Discipline, which is what we want, which is what makes you successful and makes you achieve what you're capable of achieving. That discipline is rooted in the truth that you tell yourself.
Yeah. If you hate mediocrity, no matter where you are, you get to a certain level, that becomes your new mediocrity. You know, wherever you are, you're mediocre. Because you get to the next level, guess what? That's your new level of mediocrity. You know what I mean? So,
absolutely.
Yeah, you can use that on your podcast. All right, Mike.